The story of the Dutch East India Company begins in the early 17th century, a time when European nations were racing to explore the world and claim riches from distant lands. The thirst for spices, silk, and other exotic goods had driven countries to the farthest corners of the globe, but none would build an empire like the Dutch East India Company, which became the richest company in the world, a powerhouse of trade wealth and influence that shaped history forever. It was the year 1598 when the first trading expedition set sail from the Netherlands, but the real turning point came in 1599, when the Dutch government decided to unite several competing trading companies into one giant corporation known as the Verenigde Oostindische Compagnie, or the VOC. This company was not just a business, it was a state-backed superpower with rights to wage war, negotiate treaties, build forts, and govern territories on behalf of the Dutch Republic. Its founders understood that to succeed in the brutal world of global trade, they had to innovate not just in commerce, but also in politics and military power. The Dutch East India Company quickly established its dominance in the lucrative spice trade in Southeast Asia. Spices like nutmeg, cloves, and mace were worth more than gold in Europe, and the VOC controlled much of the supply from the Banda Islands and the Maluku archipelago. These spices were essential not only for flavoring food, but also for preserving it, and even for medicinal purposes, making them priceless commodities. But controlling this trade was no easy feat. The company faced fierce competition from the Portuguese, English, and local kingdoms, who all sought a share of the riches. The VOC used a combination of diplomacy, alliances, and ruthless military action to secure its hold. It built forts in strategic locations and maintained a formidable navy to protect its interests and attack rivals. The company was a pioneer in corporate structure, becoming the first multinational corporation with shares traded on the Amsterdam Stock Exchange. This innovation allowed it to raise huge amounts of capital from investors who shared in the profits and risks. For many investors, the VOC became a symbol of prosperity, opportunity, and national pride. It was not just a trading company, but a global empire with influence stretching from the coasts of Africa to the islands of Indonesia and the ports of Japan. At its peak, the VOC employed thousands of people, from sailors to soldiers, merchants, and administrators. Its ships carried goods, not only spices, but also silk, textiles, porcelain, and precious metals connecting continents and cultures. The wealth generated was staggering, making it the richest company the world had ever known. It pioneered modern capitalism and global trade networks, shaping the economy of the modern world. Yet beneath this dazzling success lay dark truths. The VOC was also responsible for acts of violence, exploitation, and colonization. The pursuit of profit often meant harsh treatment of local populations, forced labor, and violent suppression of resistance. The company's military campaigns caused destruction and suffering in many regions and left lasting scars. This dual legacy reminds us that wealth and power often come at a human cost. The Dutch East India Company also influenced the arts, sciences, and navigation. It funded voyages that expanded European knowledge of geography and cultures. Maps and reports produced by its explorers helped open new trade routes and foster global connections. The company contributed to advances in shipbuilding, finance, and management techniques that still influence business today. However, by the 18th century, the VOC began to decline. Corruption, mismanagement, and competition from other European powers weakened its grip. The cost of maintaining distant colonies and constant warfare drained its resources. Eventually, in 1799, the company was dissolved and its assets taken over by the Dutch government, marking the end of an era. But the impact of the Dutch East India Company lives on. It laid the foundation for modern multinational corporations, global capitalism, and international trade systems. Its story teaches us about ambition, innovation, and the complexities of empire building. It is a reminder that economic power can shape history for better and for worse. The Dutch East India Company stands as a monumental chapter in the story of globalization, showing how commerce and politics intertwined to change the world. As we reflect on its legacy, we are challenged to consider how business ethics and human values must guide the pursuit of wealth in our own time. The company's rise from a small group of merchants to the richest corporation ever recorded shows the power of vision, boldness, and organization. Yet its fall warns of the dangers of greed, short-sightedness, and the neglect of social responsibility. Today, when we look at the multinational giants dominating the global economy, the lessons of the VOC remain relevant. The promise of prosperity should never overshadow the duty to act justly and sustainably. In this story of the Dutch East India Company, we find a mirror for our modern world, a tale of greatness and caution, a history that continues to inform how we trade, build empires, and connect humanity across oceans and borders.